there is something important that needs to be established by every masjid in the UK. That is that every masjid or major masjid, even small masjids are able to do this, is start a local food bank. Now the masjid does not need to fund this from the masjid funds, because the local people are able to give donations to the food bank. Now let me make something very clear. When I say zakat money, um, zakat money can be utilized. This means zakat money for the zakatul amwal is only for Muslims. Only for Muslims. Likewise, sadaqatul fitr is only for Muslims. So the money that is collected for zakat and sadaqatul fitr, a particular type of sadaqah, the one that we will give before Eid prayer, you give sadaqatul fitr, a small contribution, and then generally it was 3.6 kilos of flour or wheat or barley or dates, and this was donated. But then people converted this into cash. They give cash, and this is collected. The zakatul amwal and the sadaqatul fitr firstly needs to be localized. Some people say there are not that many poor people locally, and we need to locally there are a few people and they receive benefits. This is not the case. On the ground, there are many needy people who are now with the conservatives. Remember, the conservatives removed certain laws. Certain laws have been abolished, like a law relating to elderly people and care homes. Due to this COVID 19, in the new bill that has been passed, the new laws that have been passed, elderly people are more vulnerable, which is questionable. That if elderly people are more vulnerable now, why has the government repealed an old law from around 2013 or 2014, which protects the elderly? That law has been removed. So by the new COVID Act. So this the zakatul amwal and sadaqatul fitr, this needs to be collected. Let me tell you something which some organizations do, what is known as hila. Hila is a legal method by which you bypass the restrictions of the law. How? So the Care Act 2014, the Care Act of 2014 was removed. Check this out, that why did the government remove the Care Act 2014? The Care Act of 2014 was removed, which protected the elderly due to COVID-19, when in reality, the Care Act of 2014 should have remained. Why was it removed? This is something that should make us think. But I will discuss that when I move to the third segment. Just mentioning the food banks, the zakatul amwal and the sadaqatul fitr is only for Muslims. With that money, the people who run the food bank, they can buy wheat and barley and these type of things, and make a list of all those people in that locality, and extending the border in that locality of those people upon whom zakat is not fard, and the qurbani in the month of the Eid al-Adha is not fard, and they are permitted to take zakat. There are people within the UK who are permitted to take a zakat, like new Muslims, people who accept Islam new. There are many young Muslim people who accept Islam from non-Muslim backgrounds. When they accept Islam, they are vulnerable. So the local masjid or the local food bank must take down their names, people who have been abandoned by their families because they accepted and adopted Islam. Likewise, people who live alone. There are numerous people who can take zakatul amwal. The food bank supplies them, those Muslims. Unlike these fraudulent charities that they took zakatul amwal and redistributed it for dinners for people. So rich people who are already gluttonous and fat, they will come and eat from those dinners, and people who are not permitted to take from zakatul amwal, some of them even organize dinners for Zionists. That is impermissible. The zakatul amwal must be redistributed amongst Muslims who are permitted to take the zakat and the sadaqatul fitr, of those people who take zakatul amwal. So likewise, a second fund can be established, where in the second fund general donations are given, and then the general donations are permitted for less needy people, but who may be going through difficult times, and likewise non-Muslims, a fund for the general population, the general public, poor people who are unable to afford food. A fund can be made for them, and they take from an open fridge, that they can come and take food from the fridge. In Bambri Masjid, they already have this. When I went to Bambri Masjid, I was standing and discussing with one of the brothers from Bambri, and a man came and he opened the fridge and he took food. A non-Muslim, he opened the fridge. He was an Englishman. He took food and he went. This is permitted. So the local shops can fund the local food banks. This is something essential that we must work on now. I have contacted a few masajid and a few committee members, whoever I have in my contact list, to carry out this project throughout Birmingham, even though it has been done by one or two masajid, but it needs to pass on. This virus of opening food banks needs to pass on, unlike the virus of COVID-19.